All right, welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're looking at a totally wild collision between the absolute, unfiltered chaos of internet culture and, believe it or not, highbrow academic linguistic theory. So, on one side, we've got a viral video game clip, and on the other, a scholarly text about how human beings fundamentally process language and thought. Now, I know it sounds like these two things belong in completely different universes, but stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see exactly how intimately they're actually connected.
Okay, let's dive right in with a number that is probably going to make your head spin. $377,000. That is the current market cap of a highly speculative crypto asset on the Solana blockchain. And wait, it gets crazier, because this token actually hit an all-time high of $1.29 million. So what exactly is this highly valued financial instrument? Well, it's a token called Neegy, and it's traded on a platform called Pump.Fun. But to really wrap our heads around why this asset even exists in the first place and why real people are pouring real money into it, we have to look at its seriously bizarre origin story. So how exactly does a moment like this turn into a financial market? It literally starts with a random kid playing Fortnite who suddenly screams a completely nonsensical insult, SYFBAUGNAG, directly into his microphone. That's it. That's the genesis. Next thing you know, someone records the audio, slaps it over some random gameplay footage, and it goes completely viral on TikTok, sparking just countless memes and animations. Then comes the cultural stamp of approval, right? The Internet Encyclopedia Know Your Meme officially documents it. Big streamers start spamming the catchphrase in their own chats. And finally, culture becomes a casino. Traders on Pump.Fun launch a cryptocurrency token based entirely on this viral scream. Just like that, a random noisy gaming moment instantly transforms into a highly speculative market.
And hey, just to prove to you that this isn't some dormant joke made up of fake internet points, $204,000. That is the 24-hour trading volume for the NIGG token. Real money is rapidly changing hands here. People are actively buying, selling, and trying to day trade a meme that literally did not exist a few weeks ago. The sheer speed at which a silly internet joke becomes entirely financialized is honestly staggering when you step back and look at it.
Now, if you want to understand the absolute mayhem driving all this, just take a look at these transaction logs we pulled directly from the exchange. We've got an account here ending in 5IB executing a sell order for a fraction of a SOL just 46 seconds ago. A few minutes before that, another account dumped 1.5 SOL. Then you've got buyers stepping in 14 minutes ago. And notice how that first account keeps reappearing, right? Frantically executing multiple sell orders in a matter of minutes. It's this live, high-frequency battleground of human psychology, greed, and fear, all orbiting around a totally made-up word.
To really grasp what is happening inside the minds of these traders, you've got to look at their own words. On Pump.Fun, traders can post these things called callouts to hype up their coins. Take this quote from a user named Macintosh. I wake up, I see Neegy, I look in the mirror, I see Neegy, I hop on TikTok, I see Neegy, I am a Neegy. I know, it sounds completely absurd, but from an analytical perspective, this brilliantly demonstrates a state of total psychological immersion. This trader is tying their literal, real-world identity to their financial bags. They aren't just trading an asset anymore, they are basically living inside the meme to try and pump its value.
Then we have this call out from a user named Joe Dallas, who simply posts, "Millions soon." This is a classic example of traders broadcasting wildly optimistic financial statements right into the public feed. It's not based on fundamentals or revenue or some solid business model, right? It is a pure, unfiltered projection of hope. They're blasting these statements out to hype the asset, basically banking on the idea that if they just say it loudly enough, other people will believe it, buy in, and actually make those millions a reality.
But it is this admission from a user named Shao where things start to get truly fascinating for our analysis. They write, "Already using Neegy in my everyday speech." This right here bridges the gap between internet slang and actual linguistics. The meme has completely escaped the trading terminal and is now altering how this person communicates in the real world. The token itself is acting as a literal vehicle for language evolution.
Which naturally brings us to a massive underlying question. How on earth do we make sense of a market driven entirely by internet catchphrases? I mean, if the traditional rules of finance, stuff like price-to-earnings ratios and supply chains, don't apply here, what framework can we possibly use to understand what these traders are actually doing? Well, to answer that, we have to step away from the crypto charts for a second and step into the world of academia.
And that brings us to our next section, the grammar of thinking, decoding the meme economy. So to decode this entirely new type of market, we're going to use a linguistic text titled The Grammar of Thinking, From Reported Speech to Reported Thought in the Languages of the World. The absolutely crucial concept we need to pull from this text is the academic distinction between what we say out loud and what we keep hidden in our heads. Linguists call this reported speech versus reported thought, and they study how different human languages categorize these two very different things. Think about it. When you say, "He said he was hungry," that's reported speech. It's an external event. But when you say, "He thought he was hungry," that is reported thought, an internal mental state. In English, we usually treat these as two totally separate categories, but as the text reveals, not all languages actually do.
And this quote right here brilliantly illustrates our core concept. When looking at languages like Spanish, researchers note that the lack of a systematic distinction suggests that reported thought is actually presented a lot like reported speech. It's as if speaking literally equals thinking out loud to a listener or an interlocutor. In simpler terms, in some linguistic structures, that strict boundary between what is kept inside the mind and what is spoken aloud completely breaks down. Thinking is treated simply as speech that is reported to someone else. The internal world and the external world totally blur together.
Now, let's take that exact academic concept and apply it back to our crypto traders. Consider the internal financial thought. I hope this coin goes up so I can make money. That's an internal mental state, right? A quiet hope. But look at what actually hits the broadcasted market speech. We go in way higher, or as we saw earlier, millions soon. The meme coin ecosystem perfectly mirrors this linguistic blurring of thought and speech. These traders aren't holding on to their internal thoughts at all. They are instantly converting their internal financial desires into external market declarations.
And this dynamic builds a completely unique, hyperspeed economy. It starts with traders holding on to these internal hopes for financial gain. But because of the hyperconnected nature of the platform, those thoughts don't stay internal for long. They're immediately broadcasted out as reported speech. The interlocutor, that listener our academic text mentioned, is actually the collective hype of the market itself. By typing "millions soon" into the public chat, the trader is using language as a literal tool to try and manifest a financial reality. Just like the linguistic theory suggests, for these traders, thinking equals speaking. Their internal desire to be rich is instantly externalized as a cold, hard market fact designed to influence everyone else's behavior.
It's just this wild intersection of human behavior, language, and modern technology. We've taken a random Fortnite scream, turned it into a tradable, highly valued asset, and in the process created an environment where the boundaries between internal desire and external truth completely collapse. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to ponder. When our internal thoughts instantly become monetized speech, what happens to the truth? Does reality just become whatever the loudest trader shouts into the void? Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the grammar of the meme economy. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and we'll see you in the next explainer.